Sound test. Okay. So, hello and welcome everyone to stream number 17. So today first I'm going to just give the usual news update about what's new with Tatoeba. So I didn't stream this Sunday, but there was still a deployment, so I'll just go through what's new on the website. And then there's two topics I wanted to talk about briefly, so I don't think this will be a very long stream, but two topics. One being the finances of Tatoeba, and the second one is sentence quality, well, corpus quality to be more exact. So let's start with what's new in Tatoeba. So on Sunday, so as usual, you can always figure out what's new with Tatoeba by going to the GitHub repository and looking at the milestones. So, hi Pedro, by the way. Yeah, maybe I should mention if anybody at any point wants to ask questions or anything during the stream, you can use the Tatoeba chat from YouTube, or I should also open the actual other chat. Yeah, on this view, actually, I forgot to put somewhere. Alright, let's open the chat first. So you can go to chat.tatoeba.org, enter your username, and then if you write any message here, I will be able to read it. So that's just in case you don't want to write from the YouTube chat. So Pedro, you're asking if you should ask. Yes. So at some point, I will just pop the chats in here. I don't think I can increase the font. Yeah, that's maybe a bit hard to read at this scale. I forgot to change the scale. Oh. All right. So yeah, at some point I will try to have a better layout for things, but whenever possible, I'll check the chat. So whether it's the YouTube chat or the Tatoeba chat, I'll try to check the chat. And if you have questions, yes, you can ask in this chat. Okay, but let's go and start with what's new in Tatoeba. So yeah, so you can always check what's new by looking at the milestones in our GitHub repository. And so last week we had some bug fixes. So one of them, like we had a bunch of duplicate audio that got fixed. We had an issue where the random sentence was not refreshing properly. That actually got fixed a little bit before, but I put it part of this this milestone. There is a small new feature in Tatoeba that you can start trying out, but that is only if you are using the new design, and that is the possibility to display more than 5 sentences, more than 5 translations. So for anybody who uses the the new design, if you stumble upon a sentence that has a lot of translations, by default, only 5 will be displayed. So let's take that one. Only 5 will be displayed. But now there is a feature that if you want, like if 5 is not enough for you, if in general you like to see more, you can choose between 10, 20, and 50. So if I choose, for instance, here 20, and I go back to my sentence, yeah, this one actually. So as you can see, this now has many more, so there should be 20 here that are displayed, and yeah. So that's one of the new things. So for me, I think usually 5 is fine. So I keep it at 5, but for those who like to see more, by default, now you have the choice. And then the 2 last items, oh no, okay, these ones are together. So this is one is the pull request and the other one is the initial ticket. So the last feature is just also the fix. This goes together. Okay, so we had just basically these 3 things. So fixing duplicate audio, fixing some bug with the random sentence, and a new feature for displaying more than 5 translations by default. All right. Okay, so a question here was that, oh, I wish I could, again, okay. I just noticed on your screen you can choose the license in which you publish your sentence. Yes, I can choose, so that's one thing. You can choose between, but only between CC0 or CC BY. So by default, anybody who registers will contribute with the CC BY license, but we can activate on demand, so you have to follow the steps. So you kind of have to know about it, but in the wiki, there is somewhere over here contributing under CC0. So I don't remember if we put a link somewhere to this page. Probably not, because we probably didn't advertise this too much, but it is possible to contribute under CC0. So you basically have to send me a private message with your account, and then there's an option somewhere that I can switch, and then you will be able to choose. So when from there, when this is activated, you'll have this extra drop down when you contribute a sentence, and you can switch between CC BY and CC0 whenever you add a sentence. And of course, from the settings, you can say by default which one should be selected. And as well, there is a feature. So if you have been contributing before sentences, there is also a feature. Well, actually, it's a special page where you can switch all your original sentences. So the ones that you created yourself and that are not translations of other sentences in Tatoeba, you can you have this page where you can switch those sentences to CC0 if you wish. So, other question. Why is it not possible to publish under CC BY SA? So SA means share alike, and I mean, it's not like it's not possible. I mean, technically in the theory, we can make it so that it is possible. It's just that at the moment, this is not something that Tatoeba supports. So to understand kind of the history of Tatoeba, so we started with just one license, right? And we decided this license would be CC BY because it's just more simple if everything is under the same license. But with this model, we're basically saying, okay, if you wanted to contribute under any other license, then the platform is just not ready for it. It's not something we support. So if you contribute to Tatoeba, you have to be okay that your contributions are CC BY. And then later on, we introduced CC0. So this was thanks to Mozilla. I'll talk about it a little bit actually, because I'll talk about the finances of Tatoeba, and Mozilla helped fund the implementation for integrating CC0 in Tatoeba. But now obviously we could very well imagine to integrate more licenses, but it's just that every license comes with different kinds of restrictions, and it just makes the whole thing a lot more complicated if we start to introduce more license. So yeah, it's just for complexity at the moment. We don't provide the possibility for people to use CC BY SA when it comes to the sentences. I think though that when it comes to audio, let me check. So when it comes to audio, it's a little bit different. There's a little bit more options. But because audio has grown kind of a different branch, and for that, for audio, we didn't start off with like, we only doing CC BY. Audio, actually, we started off by not even realizing that we should care about license. We were just collecting audio at first. And so that's why there's a bunch of audio that will be without a license, basically, with nothing, nothing that is reusable. But when we realized, okay, there's actually many people who would be interested to reuse our audio, we kind of try to reach out to as many people as possible who already contributed audio, and we asked them, well, what kind of license would you like? And I think those were the different types that people were willing to use as license. So that's why we have a little bit more. So yeah, I hope that answers the question. So CC BY SA, yeah, probably. I mean, certainly one day we should try to implement that, but it's just very complex to have different licenses. So we don't have enough resources, developers to handle these kind of things. So that's why for now we stick with just CC BY and CC0. Okay, so anyway, that was the news here for what's new. Continue with the question. So the issue with CC BY is that it allows companies to use the sentences for commercial use without having, while being able to copyright the content. I'm not entirely sure of how. Okay. While being able to copyright the content, they cannot. I don't know if they can exactly copyright the content. I mean, it depends what you mean by that. But I mean, yeah, they can. Yeah, they can reuse. So CC BY. So you can see it as a problem. Obviously, I mean, you could see it as some people who abuse. I think our point of view is more that most of the time, it's like if we want to foster an ecosystem where people try to innovate when it comes to linguistic language learning and that kind of stuff, we prefer to make as little restrictions as possible. So CC BY still means that you have to attribute. You still have to say that the content you're using comes from Tatoeba, but we don't want to put too much restrictions. And if people can manage to make money out of it a little bit, we don't want to discourage that. It's not entirely unfair if they actually build something on top of Tatoeba that has actual value, that brings really a lot more value than the corpus on its own alone, then I think it's fair that they can they can use it for commercial use. Obviously, there are some users who are not comfortable with that, and obviously, if somebody is not comfortable that their own data, I mean, their own contributions are going to be used by other companies for free, basically, and they get nothing out of that. That's also a fair point of view, and but in that case, we cannot, at least for the text part, we don't have the legal framework for the users, for the contributors to say, well, I'm not okay with my content being reused for commercial use. And so, yeah, if you happen to be one of them, well, you should, to some extent, refrain your contributions, or at least contribute to the point where you're okay that whatever you contribute, other people can use it, even for commercial use. So yeah, that's the standpoint, at least on licensing. Like you have, I mean, the reason why we have CC0 is that, you know, there is also this other point of view where it's too complicated when you have a license. It's too complicated for people to reuse and to be afraid of all these intellectual property things. And, you know, the point is to try to help people create more things, to innovate. And when you have any sort of restrictions when it comes to intellectual property, it kind of slows down, it kind of discourages people. So yeah, there's also this point of view, and that's why there is the CC0 license, because there are some people who just don't care at all, and they just want to put something out there and hope that other people make useful things out of it. Okay. All right. So that was so I went through what's new in Tatoeba. So a few words on what's going to be coming next. So first of all, next deployment, I think we're going to skip 1 week of deployment because, well, at least I'm not really going to be available. So this weekend is going to be a little bit silent in terms of yeah, new features. But the week after, I think the main thing we could include in the next release is this pull request that has been going on for quite a while now, which is about multiple audio. And this one I already showed a short demo, so this is deployed on our dev website. This is deployed on dev website on specific sentence. Actually, I should click these links. Right, so there's these sentences over here. Where, first of all, on the side, you can see that the audio section lists 2 audio where you can play each of the audio separately. And you can also click on the icon over here, and it actually cycles between each of the audio. So that's what's coming next. So this looks very fine from the point of view of the user, so like listening to the audio. The thing I haven't really looked into yet is for uploading audio, how that works, if there's any bug there. But I hope I get a chance to test that in the next few days. And then we can, yeah, maybe I'll need some help to test as well from probably from CK or from somebody who wants to help out testing to make sure that this is fine. But I think this is pretty close. I mean, this is quite safe to include for the next Tatoeba update. And yeah, after that there's a few more things apparently to do. But that's the main topic. And the other one, yeah, I think this is just some optimization. I haven't looked at it in details, but no functional novelty here. And the last thing, which I didn't include for the last update, but that I will probably include in the next one, is to set by default that new registered users will have by default the new sentence design instead. So right now, if you are a new user just registered, the sentences will use, so okay, on the homepage it's actually always the new one, but on the other places you'll see the old sentence design. And that's going to be a small change towards, like, for new users only, like anybody who's already an existing user. If they have selected the old design, it's still there, but anybody who's new, by default, it will be the new design. So there's another comment. So your live streams are very long, sometimes more than 2 hours. Could you add chapters or write small summary of the things you talked about? Yeah, that's what I've tried to do. The thing is, like, it takes actually time to go through that. So there are some of them where I try to add chapters from the old ones. Actually, let me check. I think there's like 3 or 4. If I can check that somewhere. So there are several things if I had more time, I would like to do, is not just add chapters to the streams, but also just extract just useful information and make shorter videos, like shorter 5-10 videos out of it on a very specific topic. But that requires me to sit down and listen endlessly to my voice and edit videos and stuff, which is not something I want to pour time into. I mean, if anybody who listens to this right now wants to help out on that, that is to just first of all make chapters out of the videos. I mean, technically you can post a comment if you've listened to the whole thing and you kind of want to how to separate it into chapters. You can post it as a comment on the video, and I'm happy to add it as in the description. But otherwise, yeah, just to show an example. Yeah, exactly. Number 5, I think. Yeah, number 6 as well. If we check, oops. Yeah, if we check over here, I've put chapters on this. So some of the first streams I've tried to put chapters, but yeah, to be honest, I'm a little bit lazy on that. And I feel since the streams themselves, they are not that much watched, I guess I'm just putting minimal effort, so it's out there for anybody who's really interested, and it's out there, so if anyone wants to interact a little bit more live and ask live questions like you are doing right now, Pedro, so that's a channel for people to reach out. But other than that, yeah, I'm not a full-time streamer or anything, so I don't put more effort right now. But if anybody wants to help, I'm really glad that you would help. I do definitely need help to make these streams a little bit more attractive in general. So yeah. Okay, so next streams, yeah, mostly about audio and a small change about the new design. And just as a general plan for the future, like for the next things coming into Tatoeba, probably like anything regarding this new design, this responsive UI, like this new UI, I will put as much effort as I can into it because this is something I would like to finish. I would like that one day people who browse Tatoeba on a mobile phone, I mean, if you've tried, you can see that the home page fits in a like has this mobile view. The search results also has, like if you are logged out, like if you're not authenticated, the search results will also have this responsive view, like it will fit in a mobile view, but any other page is just the website as if it was displayed on the desktop, but just in miniature. And my goal is like to migrate the whole user interface so that when you look at it on a mobile phone, it's actually designed for mobile, which is going to take quite a bit of time, but step by step, we're getting there. Okay, so let's move on to the topic of Tatoeba's finances. So actually, maybe on stream number 5 or number 6, this is some information that I've already talked about, but I wanted to kind of reiterate a little bit some of the things and, you know, talk about donations in general. So the first thing that, oops, I closed the chat. I should put that in a separate window. I think scaling at 300 is a bit too big, for me at least. So I'm gonna reduce that a bit. And put this back like this. Okay. Oh. Alright, so Tatoeba's finances. Alright, so the main thing to know first is that, well, Tatoeba, one of the main source of funding of Tatoeba is donations. So that's I guess that's the most consistent one. Not the biggest one, but so we've been receiving donations since 2014. And I guess 2014 is actually when we opened the PayPal account and allowed people and put on the Tatoeba's page this little extra thing where we let people know that they can donate. So most of the donations are done through PayPal, a little bit directly through bank transfer, but the donations we receive are actually transparent. So this is still a page that I have to update manually, so it's not going to be like up to date to the minutes, but if you're interested to know how much donations Tatoeba receives, you can pretty much go to this page. So one thing to notice that we've had actually since 2019 is like we've actually had recurring donations. So there are some people who just donate more than just once. Before that, everybody who made donations was just a one-time donation, or maybe a second time, like they would, some of them would donate once again. But since 2019, there has been donations that are just occurring monthly. So not a whole lot, but that's still quite a lot for us, because that pretty much covers our cost. But I'll talk about cost afterwards. So yeah, there's this page, donations, and roughly we receive like 60 euros, right, in terms of monthly donations, around 60 euros, a bit less. And once in a while, we're gonna have some extra punctual donations. So for 2021, not so much, although I mean not so many people compared to like 2020, but we had one actually big donation. So yeah, that kind of evens out. And 2022 for now, only recurring donations. So besides of this source of income, Tatoeba has had like 2 major and maybe 1 small other source of funding, which is all of them actually from Mozilla. So this you can actually find about if you go on the blog. So the first one was, well, actually, if we go chronologically, the first one was actually very long time ago, back in 2011, when Mozilla had some special platform called Drumbits, and somehow we registered on it, and at some point they offered us a grant of $2,500. So that was the very first funding that we had from Mozilla. And a few years ago, so that was in 2018, and this is like, it is in this context that we implemented the CC0 license. It is thanks to this funding we received. So okay, it is $25,000. This was not purely just for CC0. There was other things around it, but CC0, integrating the CC0 license was one of the things. And we received this grant, this award, thanks to a program called Mozilla Open Source Support. And no, today Tatoeba is not, so there is a question, yeah, if I can pop up the question somehow. So is Tatoeba still financed by Mozilla? No, it's not. So this 25,000 is, so how it worked is that you kind of have to apply, right? So I don't know, they stopped during when the pandemic started. They had to kind of pause the program. I think they started it again now, but they have this page where you basically have to go choose a category, and so you have to apply for it. And when you apply, you have to basically describe what's your project, what are you going to do, and how much money do you need to do what you want to do. And of course, all of this has to fit, well, the principles of Mozilla, that, yeah, you know, it has to be about open source, open data, like to have basically to build a better internet, a better web. So if it fits those criteria, then yeah, then they can provide you a grant, an award. So yeah, it's not, well, it depends what you mean by funding, right? So it's kind of, for me, it's funding because it does fund something, like it's like money to to use to do something out of it. But like, it's not a reward in the sense that it's not like you've done something and they see that you've done something good and they reward you for it. So it's more like you have a project. So it's closer to a funding than a reward, because yeah, it's not like they're giving you the money for something you've already done. It's more like they're giving you money for something that you want to do, and it's like a financial boost to help you achieve what you want to do, because they understand that open source projects obviously all struggle with funding, and that sometimes this little financial boost can do a lot. So yeah, I would qualify this more as a funding. Right, so that was in 2018. So yeah, we applied once, we asked for 25,000 and they accepted. And then we applied again in 2019. So that you can also find in the blog. 2019, and this time we applied for 15,000. So that's basically it. So if we were to summarize, there's donations on one side and then there's Mozilla on the other side. So obviously Mozilla has been the organization that funneled the most money into Tatoeba, but those are just punctual sources of income for Tatoeba. So we still have to apply for it. And yeah, it also implies that their program is still running. I haven't actually checked recently if they are really active for this program, but yeah. So if we were to calculate the total amount of donations that Tatoeba received so far, actually I haven't made the calculations, but I think it's something like around the 7,000 in total, maybe a bit more. I would have to check that. But you could technically look into this page and just calculate by yourself, and whatever we receive through the donations is definitely less than what we received through the Moss Awards. But at least the donations, we know that it's something that comes like on a regular basis, or at least as long as the people who decided to donate monthly, that they don't stop. I mean, they could stop anytime, of course, but so far they've been generous enough to keep their donations coming every month. So what about the costs? That's exactly what I was going to get into right now. So what does it cost to run Tatoeba? So assuming we don't have this extra money, so the extra money that we had, we used it obviously from Mozilla. We used it to pay for a developer. So that was actually the only ever paid staff that we had in Tatoeba whenever we received this first $25,000 award. But so if we leave all of that out, basically Tatoeba spends money on having a bank account. So just this bank account that you see over here, just for it to exist, we have to pay a monthly fee. Tatoeba spends money on the servers. So yeah, the website runs somewhere on a server. And Tatoeba needs a domain, so that also you have to pay for. It's not super expensive, but how much does it cost? If we count per month, so per month for the bank account itself is around 10 euros, a little bit more, but let's round it up. It's like 10 euros per month just for the bank account to exist. Then it's around 50 euros per month for the servers. So that includes this server here plus the dev server over here. So these are two different servers, and combined plus the storage space, this costs 50 euros. And then the domains, so the domains, it's like less than 20 euro per year. And we have actually two domains. We have the tatoeba.org, and we also have tatoeba.fr. So the tatoeba.fr was the first one we had. But if you're going to tatoeba.fr, it's going to redirect to tatoeba.org. But yeah, that's basically the cost at the moment of running Tatoeba at the very basic of it. So if we just write it down, so for bank account, 50 euros per month for servers and 20 euro per year for domains. So that's basically the cost of Tatoeba. Now, if we look at that, and if we look at the finance of Tatoeba, so right now, if you're wondering how much Tatoeba has in the bank account right now, it's basically around 1,000 euros. So that's how much reserve we have, meaning that assuming basically we're spending 60 euros per month, like we can kind of ignore the domains. If we are spending 60 euros per month, and I bring out the calculator, so we have 1,000 divided by 60. So yeah, if we were cut from all source of income, Tatoeba could still keep running with the money that it has right now for another 16 months, so a little bit more than 1 year. So, but I think it's what we should keep in reserve. So this is not money that just because we have this in the bank, like we can't really do anything with that. This is real money that we should just keep to ensure that Tatoeba can run at least 1 year without any extra income coming. Well, that should leave hopefully enough time to find a solution, to find other sources of income. And if not, well, if we run out of money there, then this is when Tatoeba shuts down. I think we're pretty safe though financially. I think we don't need to worry too much about Tatoeba shutting down because of lack of money. For what it does so far, I think the amount of donations that we have can support. And if it was ever to the brink of bankruptcy, I think a lot of people would chip in anyway to help out. Right, so next question from Pedro is, how was the money from Mozilla used? So all of the money basically was used to pay for a developer. That's basically how the money was used. So not a full-time, obviously not a full-time developer. So with $25,000, you can imagine that this is much less than what a developer usually earns. But we paid for, I think I made maybe there was even, I don't know if there's a link from the blog to the wall post. But I think okay, maybe not here. Yeah, but anyway, so the developer that we hired is Gilux. So on Tatoeba, you've maybe seen him. So this is Gilux, and this is somebody who actually has contributed to Tatoeba before, like much before we ever had this funding. If you can actually come and look into this part of the GitHub repository, so the contributors. So Gilux on Tatoeba here is actually Jiru in GitHub, and yeah, he has been he has contributed a lot. So we received a grant in 2018, and you can see in his graph over here. I don't know if we can make it better, but you can see in his graph that he had a lot of contributions even before. So 2015, like this, yeah, 2015 over here. Like he started contributing to Tatoeba, I guess, somewhere around 2014. Yeah, maybe a bit after, but yeah, in the middle of, or yeah, sometime in 2014. I don't know how to read that graph exactly, but So this is somebody who knew very well Tatoeba, and who was available basically to contribute like more intensively to Tatoeba. And I mean, he totally deserves. I mean, he deserves to be paid much more than what we paid him, to be honest. But he was happy to take this opportunity and to develop for Tatoeba during that time. So yeah. Now there's in terms of finance. Okay, so in terms of finance, there's actually a few things that Tatoeba. So even if we don't receive a lot of like we don't run from a lot, like we don't need a lot of money to run, but it is also thanks to the fact that we get a few things for free. Like it's not huge, but it still helps. So I figured I'd mention that. So because we are non-profit, we're not here to make, we're not commercial. So one of the things that we get for free is trans effects. So although this, yeah, I think, yeah, this, you have to be basically an open source project that is not doing any commercial activity, and you can have a free plan here. And Transifex is the platform that we use to basically translate the website. So the fact that we have Tatoeba in all these languages here, it's thanks to, I mean, we could technically deal without the platform, but it would be so much more of a hassle to manage all these translations without this platform. So I think it's really useful one. And yeah, so that's one thing we get for free over here. The second thing that we get for free is something a little bit more recent, but it's from Microsoft. So they have basically some offers for non-profits, and I applied at the sometime at the end of last year. I think, I can't remember exactly, but this is fairly recent. And with this, the thing that we use at the moment is for the Tatoeba emails. So the @tatoeba.org. But there's another thing that I unlocked recently, and it is oops, not register. So one of the things that Microsoft offers is that they have a grant for using their cloud platform called Azure. And basically that is worth $3.5K, so $3,500, which is actually a possibility for us to reduce our server cost to zero, but this is still something I'm looking into, whether or not we can move Tatoeba instead of the current servers where it's hosted, to move it to Azure. So this is normally a grant that can be renewed every year, so it says annual grant. For now, I'm not going to trust 100% that we can have that forever. But with this amount of money, I think there's a possibility that if we go to Azure, we don't have any server costs anymore, which with this money we can maybe think of all the things to do, but we'll see. This is still a work in progress, and I'm planning, so when I'm getting a little bit more familiar with it, I'm very, very certainly going to do a stream to show a little bit how to get a Tatoeba running in Azure. Like my first goal would be basically if I had to create a Tatoeba from scratch, and like let's say there's a test tatoeba.org. We go there and it would basically point to whatever application running in Azure. Let's see if we can make that happen, and if yes, then yeah, I would have to monitor how much resources it takes to kind of calculate the cost of having to run that in Azure. But I think for what Tatoeba needs, it's very possible that this is enough to run Tatoeba every year. But we'll see. Obviously, we have to make sure that if for some reason this offer disappears, we are not stuck with having to pay 3,500. Like we are not stuck staying in Azure, like we can move wherever. The point is not to lock ourselves into the Microsoft Azure cloud. But if we can reduce the cost of what it takes to run Tatoeba, I think that's not a bad thing. So, another question. Have you ever diverted Mozilla funds to buy cat food? No, I haven't. I haven't. Although if anybody wants to donate so that I can feed my cat, why not? You can do that. But no, actually, so as far as it comes to using the money, so to be transparent, I have never taken any money that was donated to Tatoeba for my personal use, or not even for use like travel expense or that kind of things when I had to do things for Tatoeba. I've actually put more money into Tatoeba that I've received from Tatoeba. So I've myself donated, if you want to take it that way, I've myself donated money to Tatoeba. But yeah. So yeah, everything I'm doing is basically volunteering, and that's also one thing we should talk about. But let's finish first on what Tatoeba gets for free. So there's stuff from Microsoft, some services from Microsoft that we can get for free for being a non-profit. And so similarly, so that's something we don't have, but could also consider if that's ever useful. AWS. So that's the Amazon cloud solution. They also have non-profit grant, although it's a bit less. It's 1,000 per year, I think, or I don't know. It says 1,000, but I'm not sure to what extent. So there's maybe, when it comes to hosting stuff, yeah, there's maybe stuff we can get for free here and reduce server costs. But yeah, the whole Amazon offers, it seems like you have a lot more advantage if you are a US nonprofit, and we are a French nonprofit, so probably we can't really make a lot of use of that. So how much time do you dedicate to Tatoeba every week? I would say, I mean, it really depends. Like if you ask for the past 6 months, I would say on average maybe 5 hours. It's hard to say because it's not like I'm retiming it. I don't consciously try to measure how much time, but on the top of my head, I think on average 10 hours, because there will be some weeks where I'm just really not doing much. Like I'll just spend 1 hour checking the emails, or yeah, mostly checking the emails and just reading what's going on Tatoeba, making sure that there's no drama or stuff like that. And sometimes I could be spending like 10 hours, 20 hours when there's like something, like, yeah, if I'm implementing a feature and I really want to get that done. So that's obviously for the past 6 months, but there has been time where I probably spent as much on Tatoeba as a full-time job. So especially, I guess, when I was at university, because this is something I started when I was in university. I was probably spending easily 40 hours per week, by like during the weekdays, and like during the weekends I could spend like the whole weekend just coding and stuff. So, but yeah, now that I have I have a job, it's a little bit more difficult uh, to spend a lot of time. But so yeah, Tatoeba is not something I do in my full time. It's just something. It's, you could say it's more of a hobby, even though it has responsibilities that are a lot more than a hobby. But I don't spend too much time on it. Like, at least I have to be careful to not spend too much time on it to not burn out, because that's also something that can happen if you're not careful. That if you are too invested, you get burned out, and then yeah. All right, so AWS. One more thing we could get for free, but not really something I tried. And maybe I just figured I'd mention one last thing that's also quite recent. And so there's one member, so LBDX. I have to make sure I pronounce the letters in the correct order, but our member here, LBDX, he actually volunteered to try to give a fresh look to our wiki. So we have this wiki that is hosted on some custom wiki application. Like the wiki itself, it's like custom code, right? It's not code that we installed from another project. It's like somebody coded a wiki with a special framework in C++, and this is what we use for our current wiki. So when you go to wiki.tatoeba.org, and LBDX volunteered to try to move all of this to another platform. So because obviously this wiki, there's probably a bunch of features. I mean, it needs improvements on many aspects, and there's many features lacking. So to have a documentation platform that is a little bit more elaborate than what we have, and a little bit more modern, with more features and more possibilities to collaborate and stuff. So there is this platform, I would call it, called Gitbook. Yeah, and that is also something that we recently got for free. So Gitbook, if we go look at it, where do they have the pricing? Over here. So yeah, there's the free plan at that is free, but otherwise, if it wasn't free, we would have to pay $6.40 per user per month. So it could be quite pricey. So if Tatoeba is an let's go back to this. So if Tatoeba is an association, why not accept memberships, thus donations? I mean, we could. It's just like the association itself, it is not like a very active one. Like it's not. I mean, people contribute to the project itself, but the organization itself, let's say, there's not a lot of things going on there. It's mostly me, me being the president of the association. There's like a vice president who was very active in the early days, but now, he moved on to other things. So he's still around. Like he's not dead. He's still there. If I contact him, he will reply. But he's not really actively doing anything with the organization itself. And we never really had, a thing ongoing where we try like to build memberships and to build an organization like it's just there on paper, but it was the organization itself is a little bit dead, I would say. It's just really useful for when we have stuff happening like with Mozilla, or when we want to get free stuff from other big organizations. So we have a structure, a legal structure that is there, but it's not like a structure where we've put a lot of efforts into really making it alive. I don't have a better way to describe it. It is nonetheless, so if you watch one of my previous streams, so if you go back and watch one of my previous streams, it is one of the things I would like to change, but obviously it takes a little bit of energy, a little bit of effort. So is it possible to become a member of the organization? Yes, it is actually. If anybody is interested to be part of the Tatoeba organization, then please reach out to me. I mean, nobody actually asked for this before, because there is we can't really offer anything out of this membership, besides the fact that maybe if you want to really actually get involved into growing this organization, definitely I would need help. I mean, you can join if you're interested in that. You have to contact me, but then we will have to discuss a little bit what to do there. It would be the first time that somebody explicitly asked to join the Tatoeba organization. I think I've asked other people before, that were kind of active, and the answer was actually people are in general not interested to get involved on that side, as they like to contribute to Tatoeba, but they don't want to make it too formal, I guess. So being a member of the Tatoeba organization, then it gets a little bit formal, and I think people just enjoy contributing to Tatoeba with no strings attached, basically. So we don't have a membership fee. So we have never discussed about having a membership fee. That's something we could consider, but if you are interested in becoming a member and you're willing to pay a fee to be a member, I mean, we can just discuss about it and to kind of understand what you would expect as a member of Tatoeba, what do you expect out of it, and how much are you, if you are willing to pay a fee to be a member, how much are you willing to pay? These are things, honestly, no idea. Could be a fee of €1, could be a fee of €10. We could have several levels of fees. These are things we have really never sat down and thought about it. Or at least I haven't. I don't know if anybody else has had ideas about it. But yeah, good question. That's a good question that you ask here. And again, if anybody is interested in being part of the Tatoeba, the Association Tatoeba, so the organization behind the tatoeba.org website, let us know. So we have absolutely nothing in place right now, but if there's interest, then I can start writing official documents about how to be a member, and then you can become a member. That's how it goes. Okay, so yeah, stuff we get for free. So to summarize, Transifex, Microsoft nonprofits, and Github, those are some of the things we can get for free. There's maybe other things we can get for free for being a nonprofit, and that could help us, to help us maintain and evolve the Tatoeba platform. If you're aware of anything that we could make use of, feel free to let me know. That will always help. Right, so the last topic about Tatoeba finances is the question of raising money. So probably one interesting fact that you might want to know is that we actually never did a donation campaign. So yeah, all the donations that we received is just people somehow scrolled out to the bottom of the webpage and found the link to the donation page, and then they decided to donate. But we never really explicitly, like we never had on the website a banner saying, "Hey, please donate to Tatoeba." Like we never actively asked for people to donate, but that's still something I want to try one day. Again, that's something that takes a lot of energy, and especially for somebody like me. So I have a hard time asking for money, let's say. So like doing something like a donation campaign, I think it would drain a lot of my soul. But that's still something I think I'm kind of curious about, like how much money Tatoeba could raise on its own, like without, can we actually raise, I don't know, $15,000, as much as what we would get if we were applying to a MOS, the MOS program? Like, could we actually on our own raise that much money? That's an interesting question to me. And if not, well, how much could we raise on our own? How much are people willing to donate to help out Tatoeba? So French people donating to Tatoeba should be able to get a tax reduction. So that I tried actually, and it's a little bit more complicated. So at the moment, there is no clear answer whether people can get a tax reduction or not. And the thing is bureaucracy, in one word. So in order to be able to deliver this paper, so like let's say you donate to Tatoeba, and for Tatoeba to be able to deliver this paper to you, to say, hey, okay, you have donated this amount, and then you get to take this paper to your accountant, and yeah, you can deduct tax. So for Tatoeba to be able to deliver this paper, we have to contact basically the finance institution, the tax people. And so I did try to do that, but the problem is that they expect a lot of paperwork. I mean, they expect a lot of documents that in the way that Tatoeba has been functioning, we are not really able to provide. So yeah, it's a lot of bureaucracy, and I think that's something. So for tax reduction, I think we're gonna have to wait until Tatoeba, the organization itself, is not so dead anymore, where it actually has people to maintain it, and where we have these rituals, like we have a yearly, I don't know how to call that in English, but like a meeting with all the members where we talk about what the organization has done, and like decisions, big decisions that are being taken for the organization. So this kind of thing, like we don't have, because the organization is basically just just me, like who is active, and then other people who are not so active. So one vice president who is not so active, and then one member who is not active at all. So yeah. So for tax reduction, that's gonna have to wait until Tatoeba grows into a little bit, let's say, has a little bit more of I don't know how to say this, that it looks like more an organization and not just a random group of people doing something. But yeah, so I did try, and it took me actually a lot of time to try to provide as much as possible all the papers I could to these tax people, so that they can judge that, okay, Tatoeba is indeed like fits to their criteria. I don't know what their criteria is, but it seems that for you to officially be able to deliver tax reduction certificates, whatever it's called, the whole process is made more for established organizations rather than organizations like Tatoeba who are a little bit more freestyle, I would say. So there's that issue. But yeah, I will try again. Maybe in 2 years or something, or whenever I know that the organization has matured a little bit more. Right now it's still in a state where I don't think we have enough to provide. And in all fairness, we actually don't receive that many donations in general, so at least for now. But yeah, if we could offer tax reduction, that could be a good argument to try and bring more donations, so that would be great. But I wouldn't count on that, at least not for the next couple of years. Right, so yeah, Tatoeba never did a donation campaign, so but still interesting. That would be an interesting thing to try. When was the last time you tried? When was the last time I tried what? To make a donation campaign, or to get an official statement that Tatoeba can deliver tax reduction papers? Yes, actually, now that I think about it, because Pedro, you're asking actually many questions, and so I don't know if you have a microphone, but maybe we could try getting on voice chats, like if you have a lot of other questions. Because that's something I think I mentioned in one of the previous streams, that we have, I mean, we can use Jitsi. So we can use a room, although, yeah, I don't know if that works so well, but I don't know, I'll be able to channel your voice into the stream. But basically, right now I've opened this link, and in fact, if anybody opens this link right now, they can join the room, and they can speak if they have questions. So I'll leave it there, just for trying out, if you want to try out to join. But yeah, since we haven't really tried to test it out, I don't know if I'll be able to hear your voice. I don't know if the voice will get through the stream. Yeah, in French it's called reçu fiscal. I don't know the the English word for it. So to do the paperwork for the bureaucracy, the last time, so I only tried once, and when I tried was sometime in December last year. So it was not so long ago. It was like okay. So I'll leave this open. If you have other questions, Pedro, feel free to join in here, or anybody actually else who's watching wants to drop by. But yeah, for trying to apply so that Tatoeba can officially deliver this reçu fiscal, I tried in December, sometime around December. Okay. So donations and raising money in general. So yeah, that's not something that anybody is actively working on. So I don't. So far, I think I've been the only person who tried to bring money into Tatoeba. I have to think if that's completely correct, but yeah, for actively, so basically through Mozilla, that's the main things. That's the main income that I received, and that was my effort in that case. We don't have anybody in Tatoeba who's like taking care of raising money. If anyone is interested in that, obviously you can contact me. We can see what we can do there. But we haven't spent a lot of energy on raising money, and well, if you ask me personally, it's mostly because I prefer to do stuff. I really hate trying to chase for money when there's like not 100% chance, like compared to, you know, if I'm spending my time writing code, I know that something will come out of it. But if I spend time trying to raise money, I don't know exactly what comes out of it, and it's quite draining. So yeah, not a very attractive activity, at least for me. But if there are people who are who like this challenge and who can, you know, feel excited about it, why not? The fact that Tatoeba never actually tried to raise money is not. It doesn't mean that we don't want to. It's just that nobody ever took the time or wanted to work on that. But yeah, so one thing for raising money, yeah, obviously we can raise awareness that Tatoeba wants donation through the Tatoeba website. I just wanted to mention a few other places. So apparently used by a lot of French associations to take care of this kind of things. What is used by a lot of French associations? Oh, the link is not showing. Oh, is this preventing you from posting links? Maybe. Actually, I'm not sure. Am I able to post links? I am able to post links, so I don't know why you cannot. I mean, maybe you can make sure that it doesn't look like a link, and I can try to reconstruct the link somehow. But okay, while you try to figure out, or you can use the chat.tatoeba.org to send me the link. But okay, so I wanted a little bit to talk about platforms where Tatoeba can try to try to raise money, or not just money, but just try to find more people to contribute. And one of them is this website that Gilux sent once to me. So this is something where I haven't tried to create a profile for Tatoeba, but it seems, I mean, at least in terms of process, it seems pretty straightforward, where we can create a project and actually, so it seems here it's more about asking for people to contribute to the project than people to donate to the project. But I think that's perhaps more valuable at this stage, because the reality is that unless we can manage to find like donations to the extent of, I don't know, $100,000, there is not too much. Well, okay, maybe not that much, but like unless we can get at least 10,000, there's probably not too much we can do below that. And yeah, as long as we don't have this amount income for Tatoeba, having people actually contributing their time and skills to the project is much more valuable than receiving money. I mean, we still need a little bit of money, obviously, for ensuring that we can pay for the servers, but once we cover that, yeah, we could think, of course, of using money to organize. So that's one thing we tried once, organize some sort of events to try to create a little bit more hype around Tatoeba, to have a special time and like some sort of framework where people are more willing to contribute. And we tried that actually. So we had an event called Kodoeba, a coding event basically, so that's why it's called Kodoeba. So yeah, and we used a bit of money here to actually send small goodies to the participants. So there was there was the choice between either a t-shirt, a Tatoeba t-shirt, or a mug. So yeah, there is still stuff we can do with smaller amount of money, but then again, to do whatever to do these kind of things, it still takes time and energy. So it's not enough to just have the money. It's actually very important to have people willing to contribute. But yeah, so there's this platform which at some point I should probably try to put that with, like, again, I have this link in my bookmarks for maybe more than 2 years now, and I've been too lazy to create a profile, but that is one place to do it. And personally, if like if anyone finds like this kind of platforms where they can basically promote a little bit Tatoeba, and if you think it could be a good thing for Tatoeba to be in it, that helps me a lot. If you also try to fill up whatever form they provide, that whatever you think is correct, like you can try to fill it up ahead of time and tell me, hey, I found this website and like there's this form to fill up. I would fill it up like this. Do you think that's okay? And I guess, I mean, I wouldn't mind if somebody does that for me. So let me drink a bit of water here, because I think my voice is dying a little bit. So for sure, in order to get donations, so the reason why we haven't done a donation campaign is like, yeah, it's gonna take time. I mean, it does take a little bit of time and effort to sit down and think of how to express, and like, okay, or just to think what we would do with the donations, right? What kind of things, because there are actually a lot of things we could like give a boost. Again, if you go back to our GitHub, which is where where you will have, like, I guess, an overview of all the things that need to be done with Tatoeba. We have over here, you can see there's like 300. So it used to be 400. It's a good thing that it got reduced to 393. So a few weeks ago, I think it was still 400, but there's a lot of ideas in there that we could work on. And yeah, if we're ever asking for donations, for sure, it helps that we explain what we do with the money. For now, we just have this donation link at the bottom of the page, which is just, well, I mean, we've done a lot of things already in all this time that Tatoeba is alive. We've created something that we think has value, and if you think that it has value too, you can say thank you by chipping in a little bit. But otherwise, if we wanted to actually do stuff, yeah, we would have to explain. And so I think that if you want, like, so Tatoeba is open source, meaning that anybody can has the power to shape it. So it's not like just a committee of people who will decide, okay, this is a feature we will accept in there. Technically, well, there is a bit of that because we can't just let anybody change the codes randomly, so there's still some gatekeeping here. But overall, we are quite open to changes, and like if people want to bring improvements to this platform, to bring something that helps Tatoeba just being like, being faster, being more user friendly, like allow people to reuse the content more easily, to help with the quality control. So quality control, I guess I'm not gonna have time to talk about it today because I talked a little much longer about finance, donations and stuff. But yeah, making the corpus better quality, like, or just helping having a healthy community, like better documentation. Like there's a lot of stuff that could be done, and that could maybe be done that wouldn't just be at the bottom of the list. Yeah, so it's not what I want to say basically is maybe you don't have the technical skills to shape Tatoeba, but maybe you have, I don't know, some people skills, some marketing skills, some presentation skills, where you can convince people to donate to Tatoeba. And I mean, that can be one way where you can somehow contribute to Tatoeba, where you help making a donation campaign, and in there you would have obviously some power in deciding what kind of what would be the output of all the donations collected. So I mean, yeah, like that's quite obvious. I think like if we were going to do a donations campaign, then yeah, that there would be something. I mean, we do have some sort of banner, so I don't know if the dev website, yeah, we have this kind of banner where well, that's displayed on every page. So if there was, we could reuse that, or we could make something that's a little bit more fancy, depending on. But for sure, if we were to make a donation campaign, we can do that. In the meantime, I mean, there's probably things we can improve on the current way we like on the donation pages. I mean, I think I had once a feedback where somebody told me that it was not so obvious. I mean, it was a bit difficult to figure out how to donate. I think they had actually issues figuring out that there was a PayPal button, maybe because they had a smaller screen and the PayPal button was at the bottom. And yeah, so maybe we can reorder these things to actually make it like smoother to donate, and make it more obvious that, like a little bit more obvious that it's possible to donate. Okay, you can send me. So the chat.tatoeba.org is actually not IRC. I'm not on IRC. Chat.tatoeba.org is on XMPP. You can also send me. You could also send me by private message, but okay, I got the link. Oh, this one here, yeah. This one, I also know about this one. I've seen this before. So yeah, that's definitely a platform where we could look. So I would have to check exactly if it's really 100% free for us, but yeah. And yeah, I would have to check as well if we have an account in this platform, if we can only receive donations from people within the EU or from all over the world, or how exactly that works. But I've seen this one before. Yeah, probably something I should add in my bookmark of places where I should register Tatoeba someday. Okay, so yeah, there's this platform Contribute where we can probably maybe have an account where that could help find more people to contribute to Tatoeba somehow. There's on GitHub there's something where I studied as well. There's GitHub sponsors. So I don't know if we can see an example, a clear example of somebody who uses OpenSSL. Can we actually go there, see what it looks like? Oh yeah, okay. So I guess you can apply to GitHub sponsors, and then you get an extra button here. So it's another channel where, yeah, I guess people who stumble upon the Tatoeba repository, they could have a way to sponsor. So if you click, then I guess you can select. So through GitHub, there's a way to have some donations, basically. So that's another channel where we can raise money. And I started, so that's also something I started opening an account, an application for Tatoeba, but also something that it didn't get through because I guess I got too lazy to fill up the forms. Somebody else also sent me another platform called Open Collective. So looking into it a little bit more, I feel like this might have been useful if Tatoeba didn't have its own bank account. Although the platform itself, I think would still be interesting to just make it transparent for people how Tatoeba, so where Tatoeba's money come from, how much comes in, and what Tatoeba spends the money for. So could be interesting. I'm just wondering actually if this Hello Asso, what it called like this, or .com or .fr works as well. I'm just wondering if this one also has any sort of maybe not. Okay, so this one doesn't actually publish. There's no way to publish your finances. So I think you should allow people to make donations via cryptocurrencies. So I guess, I mean, if any, yeah, I could write a few words. I mean, maybe we can add a few words about that. I don't think so far that anybody wanted to donate with cryptocurrency. I know that somebody already suggested it before. And I mean, that was like very long ago. When people started to hear a little bit about Bitcoin, so somebody suggested, yeah, it could be a good thing to allow people to donate with Bitcoin. But I haven't really had any demand in that. I mean, in general, if people want to donate in certain ways and like the ways that are provided through the donation web page are not sufficient and people want to donate differently, there's always the possibility to contact me. So yeah, I don't know if I would get into cryptocurrency, like people donating through cryptocurrency yet, because that's another layer of complexity, let's say. So I know that some people do not donate because they do not want to pay via PayPal. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, again, so those are two of the ways we offer, but maybe we can make it more clear as well. If you wish to donate in any different ways, feel free to contact and we can try to arrange something. I mean, we've actually received one donation with how is this called? I forgot the name. Okay, let me check quickly. Right, through Western Union. We've had a donation through Western Union before, so I mean, if you would have to contact me personally if, like, at the moment at least, it's not something that is out of the box. That's any ways of donations outside of IBAN transfer and PayPal. It's always possible, of course, but it's not like the default straightforward way. So buy me a coffee. I heard of this one as well. So I don't know though how much commission I mean, what is the fee that do you get 100% of the donation, or do they take a little bit out of it? And yeah, but okay. So thanks for, by the way, for all these suggestions. I'll just write them down. It's always good to have. So yeah, that's kind of the places, and then one last place, I guess, but this I have no idea if Tatoeba has any change in there. So I just remembered. I don't know how I found it out, but maybe I was just looking for. Maybe I was just googling European fundings. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's some grant somewhere that we could get for Tatoeba. But here I think that's like really high effort. But if somebody is interested in like applying for grants or that kind of stuff, so more, let's say, more serious serious stuff, that's also a possibility. Again, that's, for me, that's probably like that's too much work. I probably don't want to deal with that kind of stuff, but I'm happy if anybody enjoys doing that kind of things. So you have, so I'm getting a few more links from Pedro. Yeah, that one actually, I think Gilux also mentioned this one to me before, and I forgot about it. Yeah, so this one, I'm actually aware of this one as well. Okay, so buy me a coffee and LibrePay, wait, what's it called? LiberaPay, you don't have to pay fees. Okay, that's interesting to know. So that might be maybe more worth than than with PayPal, because actually with PayPal, when people donate, there is a fee. So when somebody donates like 10 euros, we don't actually get 10 euros. I'll check it out for sure. Right. Well, talking about money and stuff actually took a lot longer than I thought. So the second topic, which was about corpus quality, I think we'll keep it for another time, because I would also have a lot to say about that. But it's not so bad because I didn't really have time to prepare much about how to organize all my thoughts and how to present it. But all right, so well, thanks a lot, Pedro, for for participating so much to this stream. I think we're good for today. The next stream, so not going to be this weekend, but probably the weekend next week. And I need, and my cat right now needs attention, so I think it's a good time to stop the stream. Yeah, no, not your bad, Pedro. I think it's a good thing. It's nice to have people actively participating to the stream. Makes it a little bit more interesting. So thanks for joining, and enjoy the rest of your evening, night, or afternoon, wherever you are. And see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.